also feel better, Michael.
Okay, so here we are putting our recovery first, so that everything in our lives that we love doesn't have to come last.
That is correct, sir.
And myself and AD haven't found much else. We haven't found anything else that keeps us sober. And there's a partial truth to the saying that Chap Richie has it.
Richie baby.
Nothing else worked for Richie either besides this program. I know that sounds a bit arrogant, but there's a difference between truth and arrogance, Michael. There's also a difference between getting your self-esteem and your self-confidence back, and
how's it,
and
Garth?
people saying that you got a swollen head. Garth also a no-hoper that's sober. It's almost the 23rd, then you'll be a good couple of months sober. Hey, I see Michael Van Letter's watching. I was young and I used to ride around with him on his MBX. Check, Vinny's watching. Me and Vinny lived on the streets together. Made a lot of cuck, but we both saved by grace. Both saved by grace. And I'm in contact with a lot of people that have managed to get out of addiction. And I prefer to not be in contact with people that are still in the midst of their addiction, except for when I'm carrying hope to them. And at RAEL, the only time we're looking down on somebody is when we're helping them up. So I think that over here, especially with the COVID situation and that lifting, is that it's lovely to know that the opportunities are on the uprise again. Opportunities for growth, for work. The traffic department's cooling down again, so we can start with our learners' licenses and things like that. We've got a lovely group of guys over here at the moment, and it goes through different dynamics of people and stages and things like that. And we're very, very excited about the kibbutz, and we're excited about Mr. Hall and his ventures that he's on as well, because that will also, when he gets into his position that he's after, what will happen is that there will be more help for people and families struggling with addiction. Addiction is real, people. Addiction is real. Yes, because if you lived in a house in Blouberg and you're now standing at the robots, then there must be something that's not right. If you're doing something that you do daily, I remember it was a very, very long time ago, before I started drinking in the morning as well. I remember that, just mind your head there, AD.
Okay.
Richie, can you see the picture? Can you see the picture over there of us?
Richie baby.
Lekker. Yeah, so good evening again to everybody. We've got a lovely group of guys here on the farm. Obviously, we have to get the house in order, and then we take it from there. Craig Clacker was also a big part of my life, you know, with the stigma that's attached to addiction and things like that. I would do anything for drugs. Being a qualified chef, I would even do plumbing. And at least I've got a bit of plumbing knowledge.
That is correct, sir.
You know what I mean? And Craig was open to teach me and willing to give me opportunity and things like that. But even though I was never late for work, even though I'd done what was expected of the job. Somehow I still just couldn't stay sober. So social acceptability and stability doesn't equal sobriety. A clean drug test or a negative or even a positive drug test doesn't equals recovery. When we walk in through the doors of RAEL, we automatically start recovering physically from the drugs. It's what's on the inside. Recovery, and there's a saying that goes, addiction is the only prison where the change is on the inside.
Sure.
So it's lekker. Thanks, Craig, my bro.
Plumber.
It's a good
It's a
plumber.
pearler.
Lekker.
Lekker.
You know why, Craig? Because I knew that it was going to get me my drugs at the end of the day.
Stay.
So now, my recovery, I do the same. I know that it's going to get me my sobriety at the end of the day.
Amen.
And like I started off the meeting, I put my recovery first so that the things I love the most don't have to come last. Lekker Clutchy. Clutchy also got
Clutch
sober. Clutch plate. He got his nickname here, Clutchy, because when he just got here, we used to tune that the oak's clutch is slipping. But any which way, to any other addicts and the people that's gonna share afterwards for people and families to find hope, we keep in our thoughts and our prayers the person that's in their first 30 days of recovery, and hope that they pursue and carry on. And obviously we keep in our prayers and our thoughts the people that's in their last 30 days of recovery and don't know it. And so at RAEL we keep recovery fresh. It's a simple program. We maintain the foundation all the time. We run a program of respect and discipline, and drugs makes your spirit or your soul or your mood. It makes it weak. It makes you only see what's right in front of you. You don't see the bigger picture. And I was lucky enough to be given the gift of desperation where the drugs had humbled me. I didn't need to humble myself when I got here. And I think AD can say a very similar thing. You know, there's another saying. I've now eventually to get it right. Sorry, I'm a bit nasal this evening. I've eventually now taken every aspect of recovery to keep getting it right. Everything that I've been taught over the years by Mr. Hall, I've eventually, had my rises and falls from not listening, but I don't have a listening problem anymore because I don't want to die from addiction. And I promised myself that I'm not going to let this thing kill me. And that was the last thing that I promised myself. And then, how it goes. You come into recovery and 3 weeks later you want to tell a person that's 12 years sober, 3 weeks later you want to tell them how to run the recovery program. That's the problem here.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah, lekker. Yeah, no, Craig is a magic, okay. You know what I like about Craig, is that Tank and them took the Isuzu the one day down to Cape Town, and on the other side of the tunnel, it was closer to his hometown than what it was to us, and I didn't have anybody to call at the time, and I just picked up the phone, and I told Craig, how's it, my bro? I'm one of those friends that... Mos, I only phone when I need something.
Okay.
And Tank and them had a blowout with a RAEL bucky, and he said, "My bro, I'll be there in 10 minutes."
Yo,
And
genuine.
was willing to go and help.
Genuine.
And so yeah, it's lockdown level 1, eh?
I think so, Mr. Kurt.
Probably about day 13 or something like that. Things have been going better. There's
Yeah.
another two oaks on the program that have proved themselves, that have started working and things like that,
Amen,
building
sir.
relationships, carrying the message of hope.
Yes.
And you know what people picture when they hear the word addict? They picture somebody with a dirty beard, with an unwashed face, with broken clothes, and dirty needles,
No teeth.
no teeth. Okay, I've got false teeth. But as I was saying earlier, if like when I started drinking, and I woke up the next morning.
Evening Oaks. Evening, Andrea.
How's it, Andrea? When I started drinking, the first thing I used to tell myself the next morning is, yes, I'm never drinking again. But then I started drinking in the morning because that started working to not feel like I don't want to ever drink again. So, yeah, opportunities are getting like a big again. I'm doing well, and sorry if I'm jumping a little bit from topic to topic, but what Mr. Wall has taught me has worked for me.
Amen.
I haven't seen many heroin addicts achieve what or tech addicts or alcoholics achieve what I've seen them achieve coming through this program. And hats off to them. The parents that generally, I told the parent on the weekend when she was making different suggestions to me, I said to her, sorry ma'am, and if you knew what worked for your son, he would have been sober. Because she was telling me all these different suggestions and things like that, and how we should be doing things. I check Gladwin Cisco is also watching tonight. Lekker.
He probably has his shades on while he's watching.
Definitely.
Thinking we can see him. But it's fine, Gladwin. We love you.
Yep. And it's a simple program, but it's not a program of comparing. Addiction is the greatest equalizer. It does not discriminate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care what job you got, what certificates you've got, what car you drive.
Where you come from.
Eventually, the downward spiral has to take place.
That's correct, sir. Even if it takes the one person 3 years to lose everything and the next one 3 weeks, but down here we all do go eventually. And that's what makes us equal with addiction.
Right, I've seen something about is drugs expensive.
Is drugs expensive? It seems like the only more can do it. Can you please put things in perspective so that we can reach out? Okay.
Yeah, I think what Karen van Dijk is saying there is that, drugs do become expensive. And that's why I went to prison.
Yeah.
Because eventually you start stealing at home. Eventually you're taking salary advances and things like that. But there's different kinds of bankruptcies that you face in addiction. In addiction, the first bankruptcy that you face is usually financial bankruptcy, and then I was still convinced that I had a money problem. I didn't have a drug problem, and I would need a better job. And eventually, I sold my first car, and things like that. It became more and more difficult for me to. I worked in the hospitality industry, to be at work on time and things like that, and it became easier to do crime.
How's it, Auntie Vanessa?
I see my mom's watching. and at least through this program, my mom can see me sitting here sober. I'm losing a bit of hair.
That's fine. It's part of
Wisdom.
yeah.
See, there's a positive to everything. So recovery is part of being positive, not positive for drugs. Having a positive attitude, taking the cotton wool out of your ears and putting it in your mouth and listening.
Correct, sir.
And trusting and believing somebody that's gotten it right. Because no offense to the counselors and to the psychologists and things like that have never touched a drug in their life, but they don't know how I feel.
For sure.
They don't know how I feel. That's like me trying to tell somebody with breast cancer how they can feel better.
Correct, sir.
And yeah.
If I don't recall, long ago, sir, you said that a counselor or psychologist told you that you find you will never use drugs again.
Yeah, that was when I made a crack pipe in the rehab while I was being discharged to buy crack at the bus stop.
Okay. That's hardcore. I think that's one of the best things of coming to RAEL, with the therapeutic value of one addict helping another stands out for me, because not only is it run by God or covered by God, it's run by recovering addicts that has been down the road, that knows exactly what it is about, and also that went through hell and has gotten out of it, and has jumped into the same pit the one person is in where that hell is, and telling us that they know the way out. And that was the best thing for me coming here. So when I came to the program, there was no way I could bullshit
Okay,
my
wait.
way around.
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Adi came to the program with his pants hanging under his
Yeah.
arse, with his hair in an afro, and
Earrings, diamonds. Richie was still with that day when I got booked in with Mr. Wall. Richie remembers very clearly, because you can ask Richie about the shades I had when I came in. He's probably gonna comment soon and say something, but yeah. And in that 5 minutes when I walked into this lounge, Mr. Wall put me in the school in front of my mother and told me straight, I'm not gonna keep myself, which I'm not, of something that I'm not. I'm gonna pull my pants up and put a belt around it. I'm gonna take my earrings off and my jewelry off, because I didn't come here for that. This is not a yacht. This is a place where you wanna come, right, my boy? There's Richie commenting. Sabella ring to the main, sir. That's correct, Richie. Thinking I'm the O. Yeah, but no, I think
so we tell it like it is here, and that's the way we've been taught to do recovery by Mr. Hall.
correct, sir.
I can remember in the meetings that Mr. Hall started. Used to run 5 support group meetings in 2007, self-funded, and one of them was in Edgemead that I used to go to, and
You're doing well, Richie.
and even if you used drugs before the meeting, when you left the meeting there, you didn't want to use drugs anymore. You know what I liked about not having Mr. Hall as a connection at that time, but being connected to Mr. Hall at that time, is that it didn't matter if I phoned at 3 o'clock in the morning. But it was my responsibility to phone and say, yes, see, I'll list for drugs now, Mr. Hall. And he would take the time, even though he was watching, or even though he was working the next day, he would take the time to speak me through it until the craving or whatever was gone. Even when I went for the wrong reasons, like many, I can tell you now, in the support group meetings that are going on this very evening, I can tell you now, if there's 20 people there, 5 are there because they've caught on nonsense, and the court says that you must do X amount of meetings. There's another 5 there that is looking for boys or girls or whatever they're into, And there's another 5 over there that is going just to say that I've been to a recovery meeting, to their parents or to their wives or to their husbands or whatever. And then the last 5, 3 of them is probably very diligent and serious about their recovery, and the other 2 are maybe going for the coffee and the Angies.
Yeah. And
So
biscuits.
so yeah, no, you know, for me to say that I've taken every aspect where I even I've even relocated to Worcester, because there's another saying that goes in recovery. That's great, Andrea. There is another aspect there is another aspect, and there's lots of sayings and cliches and things like that. We do a lot of activism, which is called RAEL Orange Friday. You guys can go check the page out. Some people put orange lipstick on, because you know what happens is that me and you are neighbors. Our sons are both addicts, and we're suffering in silence because of the stigma that's attached to addiction. And instead of us identifying with each other and saying, hey, Johnny's on drugs and he's stealing my stuff and he's broken into my garage. Neighbors don't speak about that. People at work don't identify with each other. Parents think that they've done something wrong. I can say that I was raised in the same household and circumstances as my sister. So how can I say that that it's the way I was raised?
That's correct, sir.
So I've gone to the extent, because recovery has to come first, like I said, so that the other things in my life don't have to come last. Yes, that would be lovely, Andrea, and then you can just tag myself and Mr. Hall, and even put it on our RAEL Orange Friday page. Lee J will put the link on for everybody to go and like that page. We used to do activism walks. We used to go speak in parks, market tents.
Schools.
We go speak at schools and colleges, corporates and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you now, it doesn't matter if it's a law firm, if it's a SAP office, if it is clicks, or where it is, there is somebody in that business that is on drugs.
Correct, sir.
And we speak at the Abbott's colleges and things like that. And definitely, Craig,
More support, yeah.
the thing is that I always say that that I had the privilege of coming to a center and getting treatment. Excuse me. I had the privilege of coming to a wellness center and getting treatment and things like that. But the people are harmed in my sort of spider web of addiction. My parents, my wife, my child, and what therapy did they go for?
Correct, sir.
I stole and hurt my dad and things like that. This is just the example. And he still had to carry on with life. He still had to go to work every day. He still had to face everything every day and all that stuff. When in actual fact, I had a substance that was easing whatever I was going through. And I had the privilege of going to a center. And there's far too little recovery stimulation outside.
There is, sir. I know the sense of it, but I'm past the support. Understanding first.
Meant to be tough love.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let Adi tell you a little bit about how it works and the way it works and why it works and things like that. But results count in recovery, and I mean, from me coming in with two different shoes, they were the same size though. But when you're in my position that I was in that time, somebody asks you what size shoe do you wear, then you say anything between a 6 and a 9.
Yeah.
I came in with a jeans that was tied together with a cable tie.
Sure.
The first time I came in, my mom couldn't give me my toiletries until the rail bucky picked me up in front of my house, because she knew if I had 5 minutes, I would have went and sold those toiletries for drugs.
Sure.
There was nothing left of me. And obviously not being allowed at my mom's house, it was raining that day when I was picked up. I knew I know the rehab procedure. All I asked for was a bucket of water to wash my wet feet that had the same socks on for about 3 weeks. And the process started. And it was a rewarding process. And today I can honestly say that I work hard at my program. I answer calls just about any time, because it could be me or my family on the other side of the line looking for help. And as I said, I've created a life for myself where it is easier for me to not use. So I'm on the farm. Probably I'm married, and I've got another child as well that is
It means
that is 13 months old, and I've got another one that's 16 years old.
Jordan.
And I know that my recovery has to come first. So I've created a life for myself where it's easier for me to not use drugs. I work between 9 and 12 days. And I can tell you that most of the guys over here is the result of a mother's prayer. So if there is anybody out there this evening, Lee will also put our details and stuff on. And you can go onto my Facebook as well. And our numbers and stuff are there. And again, I must say that it's a privilege for me to sit here and my mom can watch me like this, instead of watching me wake up in the morning and I need to take a couple of pills and a sip of methadone before I can get out of bed.
Sure.
So thanks to the RAEL organization. Thank you to Mr. Hall for everything that he does and keeps doing. And if you want what we've got and do what we do, then you will get what we got.
How answer you now, Gladwin.
I'll answer Gladwin. Gladwin, because some of us want to be quiet when we're young.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I thought even though the enchies tasted cuck, I thought it would make me look quiet. So there was a bit of a self-esteem issue there. After that, with the lighter gas and the tip extenders and the benzene and all that stuff, I didn't even know that it was classified drugs at the time. How's it, Uncle Peter?
How's it, Uncle Peter?
And
Evening, Auntie Michelle.
I didn't even see Auntie Michelle's name pop up there.
Michelle's on another level.
Congratulations on Michael's 21st. Beautiful, sober 21st
Sober
that he celebrated.
Yo.
And all the rest of the guys are doing well, yeah. And
Is that a mosquito?
that's a mozzie.
He's big.
That's fine. So yeah, my intentions was to let AD speak tonight, but we're very spirit-led, and I know AD likes talking a lot.
Not too much, basically.
So I'm going to leave you with, if you want what we've got, and you are willing to do what we do, then you will get what we've got. Maybe you can tell them a little bit about Orange Friday and the whole trip there, AD.
sure. I'll go through it.
I'll give you the camera.
No. I love the camera, Mr. Kurt. Even though I'm so small like Auntie Leslie says. But I got a huge heart. Amen. Good evening, guys. Grateful to be here, to be sharing with you guys. I was telling Mr. Schuler when he told me earlier on, AD, you're gonna go live tonight. I was like, yeah, yo, it's been a while since I spoke to everybody, you know, and tapped into to giving back as part of being service and carrying the message to the recovering addict. Not saying I don't, I always do, but I mean like on a social media platform, because there's not many recovery outside of these walls.
There's no recovery stimulation outside.
There's not many, and the odds are heavy against us. Sorry, Auntie Lizzie is just telling me to reposition myself. She is the makeup manager, making sure that everything's fine and looking good. I love Auntie Leslie.
Yeah, to
all
the
love
people
her.
that say that we're looking good there tonight.
Yeah.
Auntie Leslie done our makeup.
Auntie Leslie done our makeup, set up the camera, the lights, every decoration that's around us, the photographs behind us, prayer buzz here, everything Auntie Leslie
The
did.
whole studio.
Everything, a touch of a mother's love. And I tell you something, Auntie Leslie is a blessing on this farm. Let me just say that, you know, that first experience of a mother being around you that's also had and still have an addict that was addicted and lost, you know. Going to the grave the other day with Auntie Leslie was an eye-opener for me that it could have been mine. Let me say something, I don't want to be gum now. It was like my own mom being there, losing me, standing at that grave. And it warmed my heart, you know. It was hurt and painful and tears, but I just hope that the blessing of her being around us, you know, is the opportunity for us to open up our eyes and see that, you know, we shouldn't take this for granted and take this recovery for a joke, because like Mr. Kurt says, addiction kills. And having that first-hand experience going with Auntie Leslie there, it made me realize it could have been me. So I love Auntie Leslie for that. Thank you very much. I love her a lot for that. Okay, Mr. Kurt told me that I just need to share on the Orange Friday. So Orange Friday is a day basically where we remove the stigma. It has been started, you know, our children are dying on the streets because of drug addiction. And Orange Friday is just for us to acknowledge of as if, you know, we're standing up and removing that stigma, showing more support to recovering and still suffering addicts that are out there. And just for us to remove the stigma and to take our streets back, you know. Yeah, Gladwin, why do people start using drugs? As like Mr. Schuler said, besides the fitting in and wanting to look cool, Yeah, glad when he's phoning me and you can see that I'm busy on a live meeting because he's tripping. You can watch me live, Gladwin. The only reason why people, one of the reasons why I started using drugs personally, I was very young. I started at the age of 10 years old. I picked up on my first lolly. I didn't go through the whole process of a cigarette, marijuana, or pipe, the whole trip. That only came afterwards. I went straight to the lolly. And I did it because I wanted to fit in. I was the youngest amongst the boys. And I did it because I wanted to fit in. And when I picked up on my first time, I was addicted immediately. But the behavior of an addict, the thought pattern of the addict, the compulsion, the self-centeredness, the lying, I had that behavior way before I picked up on drugs. I didn't use and then lie. I lied and then I used. You understand what I'm saying? So the drugs just enhanced that character defects, and the bad side of me came out of it as I progressed in using for 16, 17 years. And it was a very tough and a dark road for me. Let's focus on, why we are here at the end of the day. And then it ties in at the same way with once we are clean and in recovery, the 12 step tells us to carry the message, and that we do on an Orange Friday when we all wear orange, just to acknowledge and show our support to recovering and suffering addicts that are out there. And just for us to create the addiction awareness for the people out there. Because families and parents feel like they're alone, they feel embarrassed, they don't want to open up and say, I have a child or a son that's on drugs, because they're afraid of what people might think of them, what say of them, and say, oh no, we don't want to be around that person. Because when people hear drugs, there's a stigma attached to it. Like Mr. Schuler said, they picture someone pushing a trolley, putting their hands in the bin, no teeth, looks dirty and foul, and this person just has a condition that they need help with, and Orange Friday is there for that person. We create that awareness, and we are here to help and to remind them that they are not alone, especially the families that are also affected by addiction. Like I have a mother that's at home that I love very much. I spoke to her earlier on. I think that with my sister still being out there on the streets, and me being in a treatment, I won't say this is a treatment center, this is my home, I found my home here at RAEL. The doors were open to me, Mr. Hall's arms were open to me. Mr. Hall hugged me when I came back the second time, and he said, thank you for coming home, my boy, it's good to see you. Now you get yourself right. After I relapsed and I had a knock and I came home. It's like walking into a home where my father was. That's the way I see Mr. Hall. I don't see him as my friend. There's that barrier in that line where I respect him. I don't get too familiar with him. I first see him as the man that saved my life. I see him as a recovering alcoholic addict that's in recovery as well, carrying the message. And then I only the work part of it I see very lost, and I don't see him as a friend. I see him as a father, and I have respect for him because of that, because of the love and the compassion that he showed on my life. He's a hard man, a very strict man, but a loving and caring man. And I'm grateful to be around and supported by Mr. Hall and Auntie Leslie and Mr. Kurt Schuler and Angus and Tank and Linky Baby and the rest of the leadership and guys on the farm here and people at home as well, especially you guys. RAEL is not just here, RAEL is out there also with you guys carrying the message, so thank you for doing that as well. Mr. Kurt wanted me to touch on how the program works, I want to first focus on why we are here. I came to RAEL because my life was unmanageable. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't be on time for anything. I had no respect, no morals, no values. The only thing that was important for me was ways and means to get my next fix. And when I came here, Mr. Hall didn't want to know who I used with, where I come from, what the color of my skin was, how old I am. Because addiction doesn't choose that way. It's not picky and choosy. Addiction will take you and your family completely down, and it will kill you and destroy your family. Listen to what I'm saying to you. addiction kills you and it destroys you. That's just the devil's way of using people and getting back, and destroying, because that's what he came for. And the first thing that is first when I came here, look at Gladwin again. AD was raak gemoer when he came back. 3-week relapse looked like a grim reaper when he came back. That is true, Gladwin, and that took me 3 weeks after 17 months, my brother. So you have to work your program with vigilance. The moment you get complacent and think you got this thing under control and you have it wax, that's the moment you start working on your relapse. So you can never get bigger than this game, and you can never go to slippery places, Gladwin, because you will slip. Listen to what I'm telling you, my brother. You might learn something. So yeah, no. Coming here to RAEL, the most important thing for me is the first things first, that staying clean has to come first. It's sobriety above everything. Now, when I say sobriety above everything and recovery above everything, I put that next to it in brackets. Most importantly, God has to come first. Nothing else, The moment I don't put my recovery first is the moment I slack on everything else, because addiction didn't only affect one part of my life, it affected all aspects of my life. So my recovery has to come first. I don't read it just for today. I read today's just for today. I say it just for tomorrow today already. Because I used and smoked tomorrow's drugs today. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't play when it comes to a thing like that. But before coming to RAEL, as to the why we are here, no one could convince me that I was a drug addict, that I had a problem. It was something I had to do myself, something I had to admit myself. And once I did that and admitted complete defeat, that the drugs had won, the foundation, one of the fundamental parts of the foundation of my recovery had started right there and then, because I could admit to something, I always told lies before, so the key word in the step one of the key words is that we admitted, that our lives will become unmanageable. True, my friends, slippery places will make you slip. Yeah, Gladwin, sit in a barber's chair too long and you will get a haircut. I'm on the rehab talks tonight, like Mr. Wu will say. Yeah, now if you label the dogs, you will get fleas, my brother. So, hopping on back to what I was saying, recovery has to come first in that aspect. And one of the fundamental parts is admit complete defeat. You have to surrender completely. And the drugs had won, and I had to put up my white flag, because the drugs won me, had beaten me to a state where I had no control anymore. I wanted to stop using so badly, and what made me more tired over the years is I tried everything on sheer willpower on my own, and nothing worked for me. Nothing worked for me until I came here to the RAEL program, and I got it firsthand from another recovering alcoholic addict, Mr. Wu. And he put me straight in the school, and he led me on this road that I am now on, and he still keeps that stern hand, that strict hand on me that keeps me in line. And I think Mr. Wu and this program has brought out the best me in me that I've ever seen. Today I sit here, I love myself. Today I sit here, I'm happy with myself. Today I sit here this evening saying that I am at peace. I'm okay with what I have. Can you sit here on the other side of the screen and say that you are fine and okay with what you have? Or are you still obsessing and thinking about things that you don't have, and that's why you are not happy? My foundation of my recovery is not built on materialistic things anymore, because social acceptability does not equal recovery. No, sir. It doesn't work that way. What is a lolly? A lolly is residue. It's paraphernalia berry, and it's made with either a small light bulb, or you get these Pyrex glass blowed out into a certain way with a round globe on top with a hole in top of it, and it's used to where you throw your tick in and you smoke it. That is a lolly. It's just one of the mechanisms or one of the tools you use when you are smoking drugs. Yeah, no, for sure, Gladwin. He's never stopped being in our prayers, you know. We pray for him, my brother. That's all we can do from our side, and continue to carry the message like I am tonight, this evening, and like the rest of the people are. And hi guys, so nice to start being part of everything. We will go for a far way together. That is correct, Chantel. Good evening. I agree with you 100%. Together we will stand, because recovery can't be done on your own. And like I've said, I've tried everything before. I even tried going to different places. I tried church, going to church every Sunday. I tried going to youth every Friday to keep me sober, to work for a temporary amount of time. And then I thought I'm fine and I'm okay, and I went back to doing the same things. I've been to another treatment center or rehabilitation, and they were not interested in anything else but the money. They weren't caring about my life. You know, the only thing they were interested about is the money. They never had no 12-step program at that place. And I'm grateful that I found a 12-step program here at RAEL. I also did it when I was outside, when I did an outpatient program called the Matrix program. I would say that the seed was planted there. And I've tried on and off to stop using drugs, and it never worked for me until I came to RAEL. And like I've said, I'm the best, I'm at peace, and I'm happy. And that's all because I listened. I became willing to take certain steps because I saw some things that people had, not materialistically, but internally, that I wanted. And if I wanted that, I had to be willing to take certain steps. When Mr. Wall asks you what you are willing to do to get your drugs, people jump up here in the house and say, you know what, Mr. Wall, I will do anything. One of the things I did for me to stay sober was I became willing to live here on the farm and to be at peace with that. Those are one of the things I'm willing to do to stay sober. I made this my home for myself. That was one of the things I became willing to do to stay sober. Because many people say they think this is a program of resignation. Surrender doesn't work that way. There's a difference between a resignation and surrender. I will explain it to you. Resignation means to the person that they come in here saying, I'm going to stop alcohol and drugs just for now. 6 months is the time that the program is. I don't know why they put the time on this program, because it's a lifelong thing, like Mr. Hall always says, and Mr. Schuler as well. They say 6 months. Okay, when my 6 months is done, then I'm going to go out here. I was a thick addict, so I can maybe drink alcohol and smoke a bit of weed. That's a resignation, because they scheme everything is going well and fine. Maybe once or twice or one or two things will again fall. But they forget that the reservations robs us from the benefits of what this program has to offer us. Holding on to reservations means you still keeping open a back door, and you didn't come here for the right reasons. Holding on to reservations means that you never went far enough to lose everything, and there's still something you need to learn about addiction, because you think it's a game. You'll get eaten alive and spit out like you are nothing. That's what addiction does to you. It's not a game. This is life and death here. That's how far I went with my addiction. I killed myself. And I couldn't stop killing myself because I was so addicted to tick. I would do anything for my next fix, you know. Chantel says MNC Fitment Center will be supporting Orange Friday from now on. I'll make sure that we saw our support. Thank you very much, Chantel. It was nice meeting you the other day. Thank you very much that you have the two guys there by your place as well that are helping out and working there. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. It restores back hope and encourages me to still continue to do the right thing. So thank you for the love and the support from MNC Fitment Center. Okay, that's ESCOM for you guys. But it's not going to stop me from sharing. I hope you can still see me. I'm going to organize a light so you can see me better. I'm still going to continue sharing and say what I need to say. Here we go, Auntie Leslie to the rescue. You know, I don't know what I would have done without Auntie Leslie. It's very bright like a diamond. And that's okay and that's fine. Thank you very much, Auntie Leslie. Yeah, I hope you guys can still see me. That's ESCOM for you guys, you know. Imagine our recovery was like ESCOM. It was like just like I was explaining with the resignation. So when the power trips, like when Mr. Hall said, when we trip, this is the time we go and use. Thank God my recovery is not built on a resignation program or a reservation program. I've completely surrendered. I've completely handed my will and my care over to God. And so far, He's doing a better job of taking care of me than what I can do for myself. If that makes any sense to you. Surrender means that the only solution to what I suffer with and what I struggle with is recovery, ultimately. You know. And the best thing I could have done for myself was to surrender. Surrender has made it easier for me to accept things that comes my way. Anything can come my way. You can take me out of a job and put me in a job again. You can tell me this is what's going to happen to you, you know, and you won't be able to go on and whatever. Some people won't be able to handle that type of pressure. I tell you something, for the 3 years I'm living here, I have a son that's at home that I miss a lot as I'm sitting here. I haven't spoken to him for a while. But that's fine and okay. I know he's fine. My mom will pop in by him and check on him. But my recovery comes first, and that's why I chose to live on the farm. I can still see my son when I need to, when I have to. I still support him now financially because of this program. But it's not about the money. I think the most important thing that stands out for my son is when he sees his father. His father is in a good space. His father is at peace. His father is fine, and his father is okay. And he knows his dad is doing the next right thing, and he's gonna look up to that, because like Mr. Hall always says, I can't tell my son, my boy, you better watch where you're walking, and he replies back to me, no dad, you better watch where you walk, because I'm following in your footsteps. I need to lead from the front, and I need to be an example. And thank God the RAEL program has taught me that. Thank God that Mr. Hall has groomed me enough to be part of the leadership and to lead from the front, you know. And it's an honor and a blessing, and that's all simply because of the way this program works. And I promise you, if you follow it thoroughly and properly, you won't fall. The big book says, rarely have we seen people fall that thoroughly follow our path. I will say personally from my own experience, being in and out of recovery, never have I seen a person fall that has thoroughly followed the program properly. Never have I seen. So I'm grateful to be sitting here carrying the message to you guys. I'm not going to talk too much or say too much. Mr. Schuler is looking at me and saying, look here, AD, I also need to be in the camera. That's all I want to carry from my side. But yeah, that's one thing I will just leave you guys with, you know. We have to completely surrender to start our program. And that's when we start our program and step into recovery. So that's all I want to say from my guys. Love to everybody, and I hope you have a liquor evening. All over to you, sir.
I'm busy eating bigger knacks.
Hardcore, where's mine?
I think that is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr.
I lived on bigger knacks, except for the food that my mom used to give me through the gate for quite a while. Bigger knacks was the essential part of my diet because it was 50 cents a packet. And yeah, so I think just to conclude and things like that, besides the load shedding, that we've got people from all different walks of life, all different, faced with all different things and stuff like that, and we do recover. We do recover if we follow these principles, and if we have the capacity to be honest with ourselves. And so we're going to be moving forward again in helping guys with getting licenses. And like I said, 2 guys just started working at a firm. I want everybody to start checking out the RAEL Orange Friday. That's to create awareness and to remove the stigma. yeah, this pop culture has just caused cuck with this Xanax and codeine and all that kind of shit. I'm sure that that most parents with high school kids know that that the pharmaceuticals are doing just as much damage as the street drugs and things like that now. And yeah, so we'll keep you posted, and thank you all for watching. And like I said, I'm really blessed and grateful that that my mom can sit and watch me here sober tonight, instead of watch me struggle to get up in the morning. And anything besides using and finding ways and means to use more, for me in the past was foreign. I isolated myself from everyone and everything, and today, just like Tank, I've come out of the darkness into the light. So thank you all, and we will see you on Friday evening. So good night to everybody. We gotta go do our rounds on the farm, and God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching.